Welcome everyone to Millennium Dawn Modern Day Mod. Now the results are in for the voting, and as you can see already from the save game that I have started, it is North Korea that won, pretty crushingly actually, with 25 votes, comparatively to the second best country I believe at 19. And I believe the second best actually was ISIS. So we have the sort of the deathmatch of the assholes, I guess. Other countries that had a lot of votes were Transnistria, which was a pleasant surprise. I mean, it is a very cool country, and I might do something with it a little bit later on. Also, Greece had a lot of votes. Colombia had a lot of votes, which was surprising and kind of fun. Then a few European countries here and there had some votes. Actually, a lot voted Taiwan as well. I believe there were 18 or so votes for Taiwan. And Taiwan would be very interesting to play. Unfortunately, right now, Taiwan doesn't have the correct population and army roster from the start. So it's not exactly the most fun campaign because you're essentially very underpowered. And that's a bit of a shame because Taiwan is a very, very interesting little nation in a 2000 scenario. However, right now, North Korea is the country that won. And I'll actually just jump right in and explain why I have already got a save. And after this little explanation, I'll jump straight into the actual playing. It will not be from 2000. It will be from about 2008, if I recall correctly. I don't exactly, maybe 2010 even. Because there's quite a lot of preparing that you need to do to actually take on South Korea as North Korea, which is a welcome change for a Hearts of Iron mod, because in all of mods that have North Korea that are sort of modern day mods, it's pretty easy to just roll down and go and kill South Korea just right at the start. You can just pretty much do it whenever. Unfortunately, or rather fortunately, because it makes for a lot more interesting little build-up phase, if so, a little bit of a boring one, which is why I skipped it, is because there are a lot of forts at the border. There is a 10 level fort in every bordering province. Of course, the 30th parallel, which is the border between the south and the north, is the most heavily militarized border on Earth. So it does make sense that there are so many land forts on both ends of the spectrum. And while the border is not exactly accurate by any means, it is in terms of the geography, of course. It just makes it a lot more hard to actually just push through, because despite the fact that North Korea starts off with a fairly decent army with quite a few mechanized divisions, quite a few marine divisions and armored troops, with quite a lot of infantry to actually just support them, their main issue is these forts. They're just very strong, and they allow the South Koreans to sort of regroup and have reinforcements come up and help them out. Now, as you will see later on, my main plan is to invade from the south, and you will see the results. I've already played through a couple of episodes, as you will see. Essentially, going in through Busan, because it is the only port in Korea, and being the only port in Korea means that I can land my Marines over here, and then after I've landed my Marines and clear the port, then I can just bring in a whole bunch of divisions from the north and just hold the line over here with a minimal force, because again, it is level 10 forts on both sides. And then the other part of the plan is just to drop a bunch of paratroopers, as you will see. And then to try and reduce the forts, I had built up a lot of aircraft, and you will see how that works out as well. So without any further ado, let's actually just jump straight in, and I'll see you then in 2010, I believe. And welcome back. And oh, look. Oh god, what is this? Yeah, well, okay. So essentially the plan is to have my Marines sort of naval invade from the south into Busan, and then have a lot. I'm just gonna start it up, and then have a huge amount of paratroopers. They're actually fairly small paratroopers. If we go to our paratrooper commander, you can see that every one of them is only 5,000 men in only one row of actual troops. Essentially just have my paratroopers just drop all over the country and just annoy the enemy. Essentially, they are there to slow down the response, and actually my focus tree is pretty much almost finished. I'll explain that a little bit later. fighter, and just have a whole bunch of disruption happening from there. And then once I take the port, I'll ship in a whole bunch of divisions, which I'll have to draw from the front line over here. I'll actually just get the tech going. I'm not sure exactly what I could go for. I guess special forces weapons. Essentially, I'll just have a bunch of divisions in reserve. Actually, what the fuck is my submarine even doing? For some reason, I haven't selected. Let's go to the submarine production and have them rendezvous with the fleet by default. And essentially, just have that be my main plan. I'm gonna ship in a whole bunch of divisions and try to sort of form a contiguous front line and then break through at one point or two and encircle a whole bunch of enemy divisions in Central Korea. And essentially just have that be the case. Now, as you can see, I've built up a very strong air force. I have quite a lot of multi-role fighters and quite a lot of UAVs. Now, if you can actually already see, my UAVs are in strategic bombing mode, and I also have a huge amount of rockets actually built up along the border, which are also going to be on strategic bombing. Essentially, their main duty is to soften up the forts and the infrastructure to sort of make the enemy a little bit less mobile, and also have, of course, less protection from the forts. And then just have that be the sort of distraction along with the troops in the center to allow my backdoor squad to come in, at which point I will sort of switch my close air support, or rather my UAVs to close air support to help out my troops in their push. Now, as you can see, I've researched quite a fair bit of the tech tree, and the artillery one is basically finished, land doctrines are finished. Naval, I haven't really researched much. I've gotten the destroyers and the submarines up, but nothing really else. Naval doctrines I haven't even touched yet. Bombers, I'm not really doing them. I'm only doing UAV, naval bombers, the marine patrol aircraft, and multi-roles, so I'm just going to be sort of holding off on that. Air doctrine, I've completed strategic operations. And over here in engineering, I've got to finish with the advanced rocket engines, which is going to allow us to have the ICBM, essentially. If you go to the research, the advanced rocket engine allows you to have a 11,000 kilometer range rocket. Essentially, what that will allow us to do is use our, even after we've taken South Korea, use our rocket stations for other jobs. For example, attacking Japan, which normally they wouldn't be able to do because their normal rocket is something like 400 kilometer range, and so it wouldn't be able to reach Japan from over here. That's essentially the plan now. I'll actually bring over a few divisions. I want to be sort of light on the divisions I bring to Busan, because they are going to be not exactly the best supply situation. And actually, I forgot to assign them from the plan, so they were just going back to there. You guys, half of you, should be enough. Okay. And yeah, it's going to be fairly hard to see what is going on because of all the arrows, but once I actually activate my plan, it's going to be much better now. I'll go for some ships. Actually, no. Radar. Even though I haven't been able to actually build any radar, because again, your civilian factories, if you go to our civilian factory slots, they are mostly used for imports. As you can see, 13 for imports, 10 for consumer goods, and only 5 for construction. So I can't exactly research things in any sort of quick way. And now that I've actually completed what I was going to be talking about, I'm actually just going to justify the war goal. Once I have my war goal ready, I'll get back to you then. So I'll see you. Welcome back to North Korea. Now, as you can see, our justification is complete. So I'm going to decrease the speed and actually check out, actually going to attack once the daytime is back upon us. And it is a justification reclaiming territory, so it's not going to be expiring anytime soon, but still, it's better to just have it done with as quickly as possible. The US will intervene and actually help out, and that will bring in the entirety of NATO actually, so that's kind of a problem. So I'll just have my first and foremost plan, my 8 Marines over here that are going to attack Busan. I'm going to have them go. In the meantime, as you can see, our aircraft will get to work just establishing our superiority and attacking opposite forces, ships, buildings, etc. The South Koreans haven't seemed to have built up an air force. They have built up a Navy, but not an air force. And the US, yes, the US is going to be essentially calling everyone they can. And as you will soon see the effect on they're just calling everyone in. It's annoying because it actually just pauses the game. And especially for NATO, there's so many. Then I'm going to activate my second plan, which is to drop the paratroopers in the Midlands. As you can see, there's already a bit of trouble because they do have quite a lot of troops. So one problem will be that a lot of paratroopers will essentially just get killed, but we'll have to deal with that. I'm also going to attack with a secondary invasion fleet, which is going to be neutron. That is essentially to distract the enemy in the best possible way. Actually, I don't want my guys to be on a plan. And the unfortunate part about the naval invasion is that it just takes forever to just go in. And yeah, they do have mechanized troops coming in to sort of annoy us. And that's good, because those mechanized troops are coming out of Busan. Essentially, that is reducing the amount of troops that we have to fight. Now, the secondary naval invasion is doing pretty well, actually. So that's going to be a good thing for us. Seems to be going fairly well. Now, I'll actually switch a few of my aircraft over to closer support. So, for example, all these guys will go over to closer support. And for now, that seems about 450. That's probably going to be enough for all the fighting. And of course, we lack supplies. That was not anything that anyone ever thought we would have. Right in the middle of enemy territory. We just need our Marines to actually get into Busan and capture the area while our paratroopers are still distracting them in the best of their abilities. Again, this is essentially just a decoy that I'm doing. Now, we have actually managed to capture Incheon, however, it is not a harbor, so our Marines over here will only be able to just sort of lightly annoy the enemy. And we'll actually get our secondary paragraph going, which is going to come in this area of the battlefield. And that will essentially try to cut off the 38th Parallel's defenses from the rest of Korea, thus creating a big encirclement that is pretty sensitive. Now, the Marines have started in the naval invasion. However, my paratroopers from here are not really able to assist them. Sort of needed in the fighting, so we'll have to actually arrest them. And if they can come in from the side and help out, along with my air force that's actually coming in, they will be able to essentially be the key to this battle. Especially because there's not a lot of combat lift we can use over here, since it's a city and a naval invasion. So we'll have to sort of hope that our air force and our numbers can carry today in some various ways. Now, we seem to have managed to get at least a little bit close. So we actually have managed to capture the area over here and create an encirclement. However, our main problem right now over here is supplies, because as you can see, there are no supplies over here. And since our sort of supply production capacity is fairly low, we will not be able to essentially send the supplies. So what we want to do is, as quickly as possible, capture Busan out here. And for this, we will need our air force to work wonders and eliminate the enemy forces. Now, we're attacking our paratroopers from the side, however, it's not really going out too well. that's worrying me. Because we've also got some characters stranded about across the countryside. And it's not exactly the best thing, because these guys are going to be running out of supply fairly soon. And I don't want all those front lines to be there confusing my troops, so I'll just move them all. Because yes, while these guys are sort of encircled, they still have level 10 forts, so we still cannot essentially secure the area that's surrounded. And we're totally dependent on our marines actually doing well, and unfortunately they're not, which is a bit of a problem. A bit of a huge problem, in fact. In fact, they do seem to be actually sort of putting us into a corner over here. And our marines have retreated, which is a very big shame. Because that was our main striking component that was supposed to essentially win us the battle, but... and thus the war, also. Without that, we're kind of in a big trouble. We've still got a huge amount of forces over here. We can try to attack, but as you can see, level 10 forts. We can't really do much with that. Now, they are actually out of supplies over here, which means that if we can sort of keep them busy for a little while and have our troops still lock down the area, that's going to be excellent, because eventually we're going to be able to defeat them. However, they are not all out of supplies because they are in Seoul, and the capital territory, of course, gives them a little bit of supplies. We'll just try to continue the encirclement and just keep it going as much as possible. And right now our troops are encircled and out of supply, which is a big issue, obviously. I feel like my mistake was launching the paratroopers a bit too early. Because I feel like naval invasion could have gone much better if I just waited on that. Ooh. Have they abandoned it? Oh, they have abandoned the line at one point. That's good. So we can actually just pour through with our armor. Good. Good. Captured one section of the line. That's great. And then from down here, there aren't really that many obstacles. I don't know. We'll have to see. Because they've still obviously got a lot of reserves ready for us. So we may be able to break through from here. So it looks like the diversion did do a little bit of work in the end. Now, we still got our marines. We've got 10 of them, and they aren't in a army. Now, I don't want 10 of them. I want probably just... I don't want 5. I want 4 and 6 because of the lovely combat width. I'll just try to have a couple of naval invasions ready while my marines sort of regroup. Now, the combat width over here is terrible, only 40. That's just not good. Now, okay, so we managed to break through. They're going to be counterattacking, but they're going to be ready for that. And actually, for some reason, our guys do not have the plan ready. To get that ready as quickly as possible. And over here, we're an open country. Our Air Force can do a lot of damage to the organization. Our tanks are pretty well equipped. Actually, my divisions, I forgot to actually show you my divisions. My infantry have 2 motorized rocket artillery, 1 light tank, 6 light mechanized divisions, and just a whole bunch of support. Border brigades are just infantry. They are the ones that were in the north, and a few of them have managed to convert. A few of them are still infantry because of my lack of industrial capacity. My armed divisions have 3 main battle tanks, 1 light tank, 3 mechanized infantry, 2 motorized artillery. My paratroopers have 4 paratroopers. My marines have 5 marines. Essentially, they are made to be light and sort of easy to maneuver and not have a lot of combat with, essentially. Now, here we can actually do a double thing, double attack, and if we can manage to break out over here, that's going to be excellent because, as you can see, I'm actually going to take half of these mechanized divisions and bring them down. Because as you can see over here, the terrain is actually not that bad. It's mostly hills, and in hills, I'm actually just going to show you my armor division in hills only have about -3% malice to their attack, so it's actually pretty good to keep them over in this terrain, and not having that level 10 fort penalty to work against is of course going to be the most important thing about just getting the fight to the south. There is a paratrooper division over here. Actually, that doesn't look like too much of a danger. If we can get our close air support in the fight, then it's not going to be that bad of a thing. Now, we can actually get the encirclement going, and this one, naval invasion, is actually not ready, which is a bit of a shame. We may be able to actually just cut them off once again, but this time in a much more sort of secure position. So we have managed to actually get it going, and we need to take Busan because the Americans might actually be sending in reinforcements soon enough. Not exactly sure. I've never played this before, so can't really know. But there's always the danger that the Americans might try something weird. And over here, as you can see, the lack of combat width is working against the enemy as well, because the Korean divisions at the start are very, very heavy. Both North Korea and South Korea have 40 width divisions as a norm. So essentially, they are huge divisions, and in the terrain of Korea, that is actually not that good. Of course, it is supposed to be, huge divisions are supposed to represent the modern organization of both armies. So I'm not sure what sources they use to actually determine the North Korean army, but yeah, it's probably just guesswork. So we're trying to encircle this one guy, this one light mechanized division. And we have managed to actually trap in and bottle these Korean divisions in the 30th parallel. We're going to have a attack into the south from another direction. This is actually plains, I believe, so our armor is perfect. As you can see, 1,000 soft attack. Though Korean divisions also have quite a lot of main battle tanks themselves in them, so they're not going to be pushovers. They're going to have a lot of armor piercing. Then we will continue just going south and try to take Busan from the enemy. At the same time, however, we are going to be trying to closing down this pocket and coming in with these armor divisions. Actually, these guys will, along with you and you and you and you and you will hold these enemies at bay. And essentially, the South Korean military will not surrender until we've taken Seoul, because the victory point layout in South Korea is pretty simple. So Busan is 20, Seoul is 30. Seoul has another little place, Cheon, with 10. And then there's a couple of 5s down here. There's Gwangju, I'm not sure how you pronounce this shit, Jeolla, and I believe VP. Doesn't actually look like it. So as you can see right now, we have a pretty oh god, yeah, that's the end of the part. We have a pretty good progress source capitulation. I'm going to end it right here, and I'm going to finish off South Korea in the next part. So I'll see you then. See you tomorrow.